Welcome, everyone, to the New York Football Report podcast. This is Joe McDonald with you for the next few minutes, and we're going to be reviewing the Jets and Giants this past weekend, and we're going to be also looking forward and ahead to next week. The Giants didn't play this past week, so we're going to get to them a little later on. We're going to give them a rest with their 1-7 record. But the Jets did, and they laid a huge goose egg down in Miami. I was on the Todd-Bowles bandwagon. I didn't think he was a bad coach going into this year. I didn't think he had the talent. I didn't think the players believed in him, and I think he was one of those guys who was a good, had a lot of potential to be a very successful head coach. I'm seeing this erode right now. Bowles probably needs to go after this season, and it's time to change. And the reason why, the defense looks great, don't get me wrong, and he's a fantastic defensive coach. Jamal Adams looks like an all-pro, and they are keeping teams down away from scoring. However, the offense looks putrid. So unless the Jets believe that Bowles is the man to take the offense to the next level, it's time for them to maybe move on from their coach and find somebody new. This is 4 years. 4 years without the playoffs. One winning season, which was the first season. You have a new rookie quarterback who's going to be your franchise quarterback, and he looks lost out there. You need somebody to bring in it and put it in the right direction for this football team. And they don't look that great. I mean, this week they have the Bills coming up. And in all honesty, with the disarray the Bills have, I don't know who's going to win. I'm not looking at this on the schedule and saying, well, this is going to be a gimme. No, it's not. The Bills, who only have one more loss in the loss column and have 2 wins on the season, that doesn't look as good as the Jets 3. But you know what? They could have the same record going into this weekend. And this team is in disarray. So where are the Jets? Where are the Jets? That's what you have to ask yourself. You got the number 3 pick in the draft. You may have gotten the best overall quarterback. I'm still not sold on Baker Mayfield. And I always thought they did a favor to the Jets with the Browns by taking him number 1. But Sam-Darnold looked like the real deal earlier this year, and now he looks like a lost puppy. You need somebody in there to take him by the reins and teach him how to be an NFL quarterback. And it doesn't look like Todd Bowles is that man. All right, the team looks unprepared at times. He goes in a lot of times, takes the blame himself. Well, guess what? He deserves the blame on his own. And really, unless this team in the next 8 games wins, in the next 7 games, wins like 4 of them, he should be gone. It is time for the Todd Bowles era to end. Bring another coach in, preferably a guy who actually has experience with it, with building quarterbacks. Bring him in, and let's build from there. The Jets historically have taken defensive coaches as NFL coaches. You have to go all the way back to Rich Kotite, of all people, to see the last offensive type of coach that they've taken and hired to be their head coach. Moving on to the New York Football Giants, they were off this week. Good for them. 1-7. We didn't have to see the putridness. They're out in San Francisco on Monday. That's another game that can go either way. If I'm a betting man, I'd probably bet the 49ers. I'm not. But this, if they have a chance to get 2 wins on the year, this may be it. If Eli has any chance to rebound, this may be it. If Kyle Loretta is going to be still on the bench, but if they lose this game this week, you got to consider starting him for the Buccaneers game. He's not going to get suspended for the traffic accident last week or the traffic violations last week. You got to move forward, see if this guy is the real deal. You're 1-7. You're pretty much looking at a 2 or 3 win season moving down the pike, because they're not going to beat the Eagles. They're not going to beat the Cowboys. They're not going to beat the Redskins. There's 3 losses right there in the next 8 games. You have 5 other games out there. There's just no chance if they lose this game, and then the Buccaneers, which you have JPP coming in the week after, you really don't have that much of a shot. The Giants look dead. They look like they're going to be getting the number 1 pick in the draft overall. It's time for them to start playing with things to see if they move on. Pat-Shurmur looks like he's still overmatched as a head coach, great offensive coordinator. He looks a little lost. The same things come out of his mouth every week. It's starting to get tiresome. I believe he's going to still keep his job at the end of the year. They're not going to fire him after his first season. But it's really time to maybe put the Giants to bed and really see what's going on with maybe the backups on this club, particularly on quarterback. If Kyle Loretta is going to be the guy for the Giants, you got to take a look at it. You got to take the bubble wrap off of him. You got to give him first team plays. Eli-Manning is not going to be the quarterback next year on this team. They're probably going to draft a quarterback in the draft. You still need to find out if this guy is the guy. So, it's another long season in New York when it comes to football. We're already just talking about pitchers and catchers. We're talking about free agency. We're talking about, who won the who's going to win the Cy Young Award. If Jacob deGrom is. We're not talking about football. Football has been put to bed in New York. There is no football season pretty much anymore. It's just time to move on. And hopefully, the Jets and Giants can mercifully end this season. You still got 8 games for the Giants the rest of the year. 8 games. It's, and the way they look, we're going to have to suffer through them. But maybe if they put Loretta in, you're going to have something to look at. Remember last year, and think about this. Last year, at least they had an excuse. At least Odell-Beckham got hurt. Brandon Marshall got hurt. They really didn't have a running game. So their offense was in disarray. Fine. What's the excuse this year? Beckham is 100%. You got Saquon-Barkley in the draft. You have a running game, and you're still losing games. It's time to really turn the page. And if they lose on Monday, which I'm about 50-50 on this game, they have a chance to win because the 49ers are terrible too. If they lose this game on Monday, and I'm probably leaning towards the 49ers because it's in San Francisco, then it's just time to really pull the plug on Eli. Keep him around. When it comes to maybe some home games in December, you may want to start him. But let's just see what the kid has to have. That's just basically it, because this team does not look like a football team. It looks like guys they put together, and they're not built properly. It's just a sad, sad case. And maybe they can turn it around next year with a new quarterback. It just looks like maybe after so many years of looking so good in the 2000s, it's, the Giants just look terrible now. And maybe it's just a dark period for the club. Maybe it's like the late 70s all over again. Hopefully they can draft somebody and make them and put another building block in this year. They draft that quarterback out of Oregon if he comes out of the draft, and you have him with Barkley. Then you have some building blocks there on offense, and you obviously have to build an offensive line. Other than that, that is the report. You can download us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, and Spotify for the New York Football Report. and listen to our other podcasts, like the Pro Baseball Central podcast, where I update the Mets. Joe Sikoa is going to have a hockey one later on today. We have Schwartz on Sports, the Peter Schwartz podcast, and he should have one coming back soon. This week, yes, he has a little bit of family stuff later in the week, but he will have another edition coming soon. So Sports Day Radio Network's coming together. Next week, you're also going to have another Ray and Steve show, and maybe soon we'll also have another Rich Man Q, so all bases covered. So this is Joe McDonald signing off the New York Football Report podcast, and we'll be back next week with another update.